So we're going to go over the pros and cons of owning a Cane Corso. Unfortunately, there's no room on the couch for me.
Before we hop right into this video, comment below what your #1 pro and #1 con is to owning a dog, whether it's a Cane Corso or name what breed you own. List down below your pro and con. That's the first con.
That's the first con right there.
They are big. They take up a lot of space.
They take up a lot of horizontal space. So everyone's always like, are you going to get another Corso? We'd love one, but one issue with that is small house, a lot of horizontal space, not a whole lot of room for us to move around. Bathrooms, laundry rooms, the dogs will follow us everywhere, and it makes it very, very difficult when there's no room.
You get trapped in a room very easily where they just block you and you can't get out.
I feel like one of the biggest pros is their loyalty. Because of their loyalty, it makes them great companion animals. If you know how to train them and raise them properly, lead them throughout their life, they're going to make the most amazing dog for you and your family. That being said, they're not for first-time dog owners, and they're not for dog owners who can't take leadership. Doesn't mean you can't have one in the future. I would just not suggest getting one right now. Check out the link in the description box below. There's a ton of amazing online training courses that will take your guys' dog training to the next level. You will have that perfect canine companionship that we have with Bruce Wayne and Joey Justice. Use code Jason to save 10% on all of those courses.
I would say the next con would be something not everyone thinks about before they get a dog, and that is the bigger the dog, the bigger the breed, which these are a giant breed dog, the more expensive they are to have forever. Not just your initial expense of purchasing a dog, but the cost ongoing of monthly feeding them, anytime they have to go to a vet, anytime they may need medicine, it all costs more because they are just bigger bodies. They're bigger boys.
They have to eat more. They need higher doses of medicine if you have to take them, if they have to get on medicine. Everything costs more.
I would say another pro is just the emotional support that these dogs provide. They are so superhuman-like. It's unreal. The most human dogs I've ever met in terms of intelligence. These dogs know when we don't feel good before we even know it. They know if I'm sad. They know if I just need companionship. They are just so in tune with emotions and therefore make such great emotional support dogs.
And that goes back to raising them properly. Raising a dog to get this kind of companionship is more than just obedience training. It's like how you raise them. Every second with your dog, you're either training them to do something you want them to do or inadvertently train them to do something you don't want them to do. So a lot of people forget about that. And it's always praising your dog when they're doing something well and correcting any behavior you don't want. And over time, you build that communication together and then they just become so in tune with you. Another con would be just health. A lot of large breed dogs, they're predispositioned to a lot of health issues, a lot of joint issues. Bruce Wayne weighs 155 pounds. That's a lot of weight on his joints. So you have to take the utmost care of their joints. We have a ramp for Bruce and Justice to get out of the car. We have orthopedic dog beds down below here. We have orthopedic dog beds in our offices. We have an orthopedic dog bed for our SUV. We try to take the utmost care of their joints to future-proof their health and their joints and their mobility. I always suggest having your dog on a very good joint supplement from the moment you get them. Bruce Wayne, Joey Justice have been on the New Vet joint supplement since the moment we had them. We've been using it for over 6 years. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description box below so you guys can see exactly what you use. We're just an auto ship, so we're never without it. We get it every single month. Highly recommend.
The other thing with that, with keeping their, their health good, is you really can't afford to have these dogs being overweight. Not that any dog should be, but the bigger the dog, having any excess weight on them is just gonna make it that much harder on their joints.
Yes.
So it's really important to keep them lean and in the best shape possible.
Another thing with their health is a lot of giant breed dogs, such as Cane Corsos, are predisposed to more easily getting bloat. If you guys don't know what bloat is, I'll just throw up a Google definition of it really quick on screen. And this situation can quickly become a devastating nightmare. You have a very short window, if it does happen, to quickly get them to the vet and get them care. So that's another big con. You have to be very vigilant around when they're playing and eating, playing and drinking. We usually wait 30 to 45 minutes after they play till they calm down so they're less prone to getting bloat. One big pro is your house is pretty secure. Now, I'm a realist. I know anybody can scout out the house, come in, take out the dogs, no problem if they know they're there. But it's a nice deterrent at least. If you get the random burglar that's coming, they see the dogs, they hear the dogs, they're gonna just move on to the next house. There's almost 300 pounds of dog here. So Kara feels a lot more safer when she's out alone without me walking the dogs on the canal, which is in the middle of the woods, walking in the city or anything like that. A criminal is much less likely to even approach and mess with her just because of the dogs alone. Just because of their appearance, their size, and their bark. At least Bruce Wayne's bark is pretty intimidating.
Yeah, you can tell random strangers sometimes. When I'm alone with the two of them, they're like, whoa, kind of caught off guard, like not messing with her. But I definitely feel way more safe going out by myself as a female, having these two dogs with me. So that's a huge pro. I didn't realize I needed in my life, but as a woman that likes to go out and exercise on my own, and not have to worry as much, it makes a big difference having these guys with me.
And you used to be afraid to spend the night alone.
Yeah.
And I don't think you would be anymore.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be.
You're pretty much fine. So along with that pro is a con. You have to make sure you are diligently socializing your Cane Corso from the moment you have them through their entire life. Socialization is a skill. How you talk to people is a skill. How I talk to the camera is a skill. If I stop practicing said skill, that skill diminishes and I'm not as good at it. Same for dogs. Socialization for dogs is a skill. They need to be out in the world. They have to experience things. They have to see different sights, smell different smells, hear different sounds. And the more you can get your dog subjected to different things, the more it's going to desensitize them to the world and the more they're going to understand right from wrong. They can't decipher a threat, somebody coming up to you all friendly, versus somebody about to attack you just because of their body language and demeanor if they've never been around people. That's definitely a pro and con. It's a con if you don't want to be out socializing your dog all the time throughout their entire life.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
You can't sugarcoat that. It's a lot of work. And for us having Bruce for 6 years, could easily get complacent with that, right? Because you feel like you've done the work, but honestly, you haven't. There's always a new opportunity for him to be exposed to something he's never been exposed to before. So we always try to take those precautions with socialization and training to make sure we're still always wearing those hats as leaders to ensure just his socialization and everyone's safety too.
Bruce starting to pant because I shut off the AC so you guys don't have to hear it. And it's a pro because it's fun to go out and socialize your dog and just be a family. Those are some of my favorite days when we just go to the beach and take them swimming out as a family. And socialization doesn't mean like one-on-one interaction with people. Don't have to be coming up to your dog all the time. That's not necessarily socialization. Just being out and let your dog observe things is socialization for them.
That's also a pro, I would say, is that they really are family dogs. They're very much family oriented. They like being part of the family. That family dynamic, I think, really enhances their life and enhances ours, of course. So they're not like other dogs where they kind of just want to be near you, but not really. These dogs want to be on top of you. They literally have no personal space. They just want to be with their pack at all times. It makes them the happiest. So for us, that's a positive for us because it's what we want in our lives is to have that family type feel and bond with our dogs.
And you have to realize that that's not a dog that can just be left out in the yard all day long. They won't be happy. Unless you don't want your dog following you room to room, being everywhere you are, then don't get this breed.
Kind of leads into the next bit, which it could be a con, is that they are super duper sensitive. Every dog's going to differ, obviously. Bruce Wayne in particular, he is very sensitive. So while he loves being in the family, if I travel or go somewhere, he can be very sensitive to that and almost seem sad or become a little withdrawn or not want to eat, things like that if his whole family isn't together. They're just very sensitive to any changes. In addition, knowing Jason's health issues, Bruce, it's a pro and a con, is very sensitive to Jason's how he's feeling. Bruce can sense it when Jason's not feeling well, and sometimes that can impact how Bruce acts. If Jason's not having a good day, he's not feeling great, sometimes Bruce almost seems down in the dumps because he's feeding off of what Jason's going through. Yeah. Pro and a con, because sometimes it's good because I can tell that he knows he's not feeling well, and it lets me know just kind of where Jason's at, where everyone's at, even if Jason hasn't verbalized it. But also a con, because you don't want your dog stressed out over your leaders.
Yes.
I think a pro for these guys personally, and I don't know, you can speak to this, Jason, if it's just how we raise them, but they thrive on routine. And that honestly makes Jason and I's life so much easier, because we're fairly routine in terms of habits, and when we feed the dog and exercise and when we wind down for the night. And the dogs have really thrived, and they both adapted to that type of structured routine very easily.
It makes it very easy for us, because it's like 7 o'clock. I go to bed very early, like around 9 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, I like to wind down and just get on the couch and try to get sleepy. That way I can get a good night's sleep. And these guys know I lay on the couch, and they just come over and they just lay down. Justice, even if he just keeps walking around, not sure what to do, I'll just tell him to lay down. He'll lay down and basically not get up until they go back to the bathroom later one time, and then that's it. So a lot of dogs are very structured, routine animals.
Yeah.
These guys especially.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be great for these dogs to have an owner that's just constantly, their schedule is all over the place and changing. I don't know if that would be good for them.
One con would be, I did a video, you guys can check it out, Cane Corso, dangerous breed. And in that, I discuss the dangers of a Cane Corso. And one thing is their size and the ability of them to accidentally injure you. Just playing, you can easily get injured. Bruce Wayne, if he paws at your face, his paw pads are rough because he's outside walking, and his paws are heavy. Not only does it feel like a human hit you in the face, but it's going to leave scratches.
It feels like a UFC fighter punched you in the face.
Kara's playing with Bruce once. Bruce ran into her full speed, and she fell and fractured her shoulder.
Flips in the air.
So you have to be very, very careful around these dogs, especially somebody who's older who gets the dog. There's no age limit to what breed you can have, as long as you understand dog behavior and how to train dogs. For example, if a 7-year-old gets one of these guys, they're extremely strong and powerful, and them just bumping into you the wrong way hard can knock you over and injure you. So you always have to be aware when you're playing with them, when you're around them. They shake their head if your head's down them, and they hit you in the mouth. You could lose teeth, you can break a nose. So that's just one big con, is just so big, heavy, and dense. One pro a lot of people don't think of or realize is they're not wanderers. So, for example, if your dog gets out of the house, they're typically not gonna really wander out of the yard, because their yard is their yard, and they're there to protect that yard. So they're not going to go wander like miles away typically. So that's one good pro. They always want to be with you. It made training Justice off leash extremely easy. He's been trained off leash since the moment we had them. He sees me, Kara, and Bruce walking down the canal, for example, and we're all kind of in a pack. So Justice knows, he's like, oh, I got to stay with the pack. So his whole life, he's been trained off leash, and he never really wanders far off from us.
I've got 2 pros.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
2 pros. So number 1, believe it or not, looking at the size of these dogs, I would say all in all, they're a relatively quiet breed. Would you agree with that? Could I say that?
Yeah, they're quite big.
Because even though they're guardians, so they're going to be loud if someone approaches that they don't know, right? Hey, no, leave it. But for the most part, you almost forget they're here sometimes. Jason and I will be driving in the car, taking them somewhere, and we forget there's 2 dogs weighing over 300 pounds altogether in our vehicle, because they're so quiet. And even in the house, walking around, you almost don't hear them when they sneak up behind you. They are so quiet.
Ninjas.
They are. Second to that, for being, again, such giant breeds, they're really not that messy of a breed. We compare this a lot to our English Bulldog previously, who was so much smaller, but so much dirtier.
Yes. Boogers everywhere, super loud.
They're really not droolers. People ask that a lot. They're not big droolers. Obviously, after they drink water, they're gonna have some water trapped in their jowls.
And they're not even big shedders because of how we feed them. So some dogs, huge shedders, even if they're on a raw diet. These guys on a raw diet, they typically only really shed bad during their seasonal sheds, or if the weather just crazy flip-flops. Like it just got hot, really hot this August, so Bruce started to shed. That'll throw off his shedding cycles. But for the most part, for having 300 pounds of dog, they don't really shed that much.
I mean, this is a pro right here. He's just They're just sweet little babies.
We've never experienced this, but one con could just be how people look at you. Randomly, I'll get people ask if people are scared and like cross the street when they see Bruce Wayne and me coming. It's actually quite the opposite with him. He has very human-like features. He has like human-like eyes. I've never seen a dog get called handsome more than Bruce. But I know a lot of people, especially in other countries, this breed's frowned upon. So you just may get like those nasty looks from other people when you have a Cane Corso.
With that being said, with this breed, be prepared to be talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So pro or con, depends on your personality type.
I think that's gonna do it for us. I'm sure we could come up with a ton more pros and cons. We should have made a list, but we didn't. Hopefully you guys liked this video. Make sure you comment for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and until next time, Bruce Wayne, Joey Justice, Kara Corey, and myself will see you later. Everything I'm associated with, link in the description box below. Peace.
Help us get to 400K.
I always give them like a...
Whoa, he heard
They
that.
did proper work treat.
Ow, he heard that.
Stay.
He's flipping out for that.
See, that's when they drool.
He was just sound asleep.
He sound asleep till he heard the bison cubes.
Yeah, he heard that bag open. You
That
barely
bison lung.
you barely even touched the bag and he heard it. Oh, there goes my dress.
And that's where the slobber comes from.
That's when we get slobber.
I'm gonna get a paper towel.
Sleep, you are sound asleep.
Sound asleep till I heard the treats come in. Give me them
kebab.
treats. So that made you ugly and sloppy. That made you sloppy. You even drew on yourself, bro. Okay, everybody. Let's get up.